Let's talk about the issue of brand in 2020 for a minute. Up until recently, when people said brand work, it typically referred to all the micro things like the shades and colors associated with your brand, or like what your signages look like, or updates on the logo. And that's a fair sort of way of looking at it, because that's what gets a lot of press when you look at all the featured reading on brand in the large publications. This is the kind of stuff that you're seeing. But that, to my mind right now, is really more branding as opposed to brand. And what is the difference? What does brand look like in 2020? Brand, quite simply, looks like real solid expertise that you're putting out there. So what does that mean? Things like podcasts, creating infrastructure in the audio medium, whether it's one or a couple, in which you're really offering content of value to your customers. That is a brand play in 2020. Other things, examples of other things you're doing is getting your actual leadership to go out there on LinkedIn, for example, and engage, try to speak with the types of people who are your customers. Again, offer real value from their expertise. Or even if it's like running a series of events, we're seeing a whole lot of, what shall we call it, clutter in that space, and it's becoming difficult to distinguish one virtual event from the other. So what really does set it apart is adding those experiential components, whether they might be, surprising and delighting your customers, whether it's, the new avatar of swag, whether it's cutting the Zoom fatigue. Those are the real things that you're doing to build your brand in 2020. That's what people are looking at. Remember, people are going to first discover you by Googling you, quite simply, or because somebody said something and they're checking on you, or they vaguely looked at a property that has something to do with you and they've been served a bunch of retargeting. That's how people are finding you today. They're not finding you from the glossy, large ads or the billboards, unless that is the line of business you're in. But since we talk heavily to a lot of B2B companies, this is the avatar. And don't hide behind the B2B thing and say that, oh, it doesn't really matter if the end consumer is looking at my brand and identifying with it. It is going to them through a different person. It doesn't matter. In the end, they're picking your brand. And in 2020, it is my strong belief, especially post-COVID, that you need to be putting money into the kind of infrastructure that builds you as an expert.